What if I told you that the man who brings laughter to millions as Deadpool cannot sleep at night because of paralyzing fear? Ryan Reynolds, the charismatic actor who seems to have it all, has been hiding a devastating secret that could destroy his entire world. Behind the witty one-liners and that infectious smile lies a man tormented by anxiety so severe that he sometimes cannot leave his house. While millions adore his confident superhero persona, Reynolds has spent years battling an invisible enemy that follows him everywhere he goes. The irony is crushing. The man who plays the most fearless anti-hero in cinema is secretly terrified of his own shadow. It all began in his childhood in Vancouver, where young Ryan watched helplessly as his father battled Parkinson's disease for 15 brutal years. The sight of his strong, capable father slowly losing control of his own body planted seeds of terror that would grow into a monster of anxiety that haunts him to this day. Reynolds has described watching his father's struggle as looking behind the curtain of human frailty, and what he saw changed him forever. But this is where everything changed for the worse. The success of Deadpool, which should have been his greatest triumph, became his greatest burden. As the character's popularity exploded worldwide, Reynolds found himself trapped behind a mask he could never remove. Fans expected constant humor, endless wit, and that trademark Reynolds charm. What they did not know was that their beloved star was drowning in expectations he could no longer meet. The pressure became so intense that Reynolds began experiencing panic attacks on movie sets. Crew members would find him hyperventilating in his trailer, gasping for air while wearing the very costume that made him famous. The superhero suit that brought joy to millions had become his prison. Directors learned to work around his anxiety attacks, but Reynolds knew he was living on borrowed time. You have not heard the most shocking part yet. While publicly maintaining his marriage to Blake, Lively appeared perfect. Behind closed doors, Reynolds was falling apart. His anxiety was poisoning their relationship, creating walls between them that seemed impossible to tear down. Lively watched the man she loved disappear into a shell of paranoia and fear, unable to help him fight a battle only he could win. The breaking point came during the filming of Deadpool 3. Reynolds suffered such a severe panic attack that production had to shut down for an entire day. As he lay on the cold floor of his dressing room, shaking uncontrollably, he realized that his anxiety had become stronger than his will to continue. The man who portrayed the ultimate survivor was ready to surrender. And this is where everything changed again, but in the most unexpected way. Instead of hiding his struggles, Reynolds made a decision that shocked Hollywood. He began speaking openly about his anxiety, tearing down the facade he had built over decades. In interviews, he revealed the sleepless nights, the constant worry, the fear that consumed him even during his happiest moments. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of fans reached out, sharing their own battles with mental health. Reynolds discovered that his vulnerability had become his greatest superpower. By admitting his weakness, he had found a strength he never knew existed. The man who had spent years hiding behind humor realized that his honesty was more powerful than any joke he had ever told. But the universe was not finished testing him. In January 2025, Reynolds found himself dragged into a massive legal battle involving his wife and director Justin Baldoni. A $400 million lawsuit threatened to destroy not only his reputation, but everything he had worked to build. The allegations were devastating, and suddenly, the man who had learned to speak openly about his anxiety faced a new kind of terror, the possibility of losing everything he held dear. Yet instead of retreating into panic, Reynolds did something remarkable. He channeled the courage he had developed through his mental health journey and fought back with the same honesty that had saved him before. In court documents, his lawyers described the lawsuit as nothing more than hurt feelings. But Reynolds knew it represented something much deeper, a test of whether he had truly conquered his demons. As the legal battle continues to unfold, Reynolds faces each day with a new perspective. The anxiety is still there, lurking in the shadows, but it no longer controls him. He has learned being a superhero is not about fearlessness. It is about being afraid and moving forward anyway. The real Ryan Reynolds, the man behind the mask, has discovered that his greatest enemy was also his greatest teacher. Today, when Reynolds puts on the Deadpool costume, he carries with him the stories of every person who has reached out to share their struggle. He has transformed his personal hell into a beacon of hope for others fighting similar battles. The man who once could not leave his house now stands as living proof that even our darkest moments can become sources of light. But what happened next was truly shocking. Reynolds realized that his journey was far from over. The legal challenges, the public scrutiny, the constant pressure, they were all tests of the resilience he had built through confronting his anxiety. Rather than seeing them as threats, he began to view them as opportunities to show the world what real strength looks like. The most surprising part is not that Ryan Reynolds conquered his anxiety, it is that he learned to live with it as a companion rather than an enemy. The man who plays Deadpool discovered that true healing does not come from eliminating our fears, but from refusing to let them eliminate us. His story continues to unfold, one honest conversation at a time, proving that even superheroes need saving sometimes.